So, if you didn't hear, there's a new Pokemon game on the horizon that's not Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. What's really bad about all this is the fact that we know literally nothing about it. We don't have box art, we don't have a teaser trailer, we have nothing. Why? Because we probably should not have known about it just yet. It's going to be for the Switch, unless they decide to release another console between here and like a year and a half to 2 years from now. But why do we know this? Because so many people complained about Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon because they didn't get more Pearl and Diamond remakes that they bitched and moaned about it on the Twitters and everything else, to where the company had to essentially release a small little video or whatnot during E3 going, yeah, by the way, we're making a main series RPG console version for the Switch, and it might be ready in a couple of years, a year and a half, something like that. And he looked so sad while giving us that information because everybody had a backlash to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And that, honestly, I really wish I didn't know that there was a new game coming out. Why? Because I would have loved to have had the hype of a trailer that just randomly drops or something like that going, hey, guess what? We got a game coming to the Switch. Oh, yeah. And then everybody going nuts over it. And instead, not a whole lot of people are going nuts about it because we ain't got nothing on it, for one. And two, I just hate the fact that they had to release that because so many people were bitching and moaning about the Pearl and Diamond remake that they're not getting. They're getting an Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon or Black and White 2, essentially. There's so many things that can come with this new game, being that it's an alternate timeline to the first. They could redo a lot of different stuff to it, which I'm talked about already. And you people are so entitled to going, well, I want this, it better happen, and then going and yelling to the sky because it didn't happen. It just really ticked me off. But anyway, on to speculation. What's this new game going to be? Well, it's going to be a main story, a main RPG, like all the others have been, and it's going to be on the console. So what can that mean? A lot of different things, especially if it's on the console, meaning we got more memory, we've got better graphics and everything else that can come with it. So what I would like to see is something that's like got the stadium portion with like pretty much what we're used to seeing in our Game Boy games or 3DS games nowadays. My age is starting to show. Anyway, I didn't really care for Revolution or Coliseum. It felt like it was more focused on the story aspect than what I really wanted, and that was battling other people and doing things through the stadium and stuff like that, different challenges, little cups, stuff like all sorts of different things. And it just really felt more like it was invested into a story aspect, which was okay. Don't get me wrong, it was okay, but to be honest, didn't care for that part at all. Played through it to do the stuff that, you get when you capture all the shadow Pokemon and stuff like that. Other than that, just never really cared for those versions. I want Stadium to sort of come back, but better. But at the same time, if we're going to have a story mode, it would be really nice to see all the regions. Everything up to what we have right now. All the way up to Alola or something. And we could say, start in Kanto. And start working our way up from there. You go through the gyms, you go through the battles, you catch the Pokemon, you hit the Elite Four, and then at the end of it, the professor comes up and goes, hey, guess what? You're the champ. Oh, by the way, you want to go to another region? And then gives you a list of, like, the other regions, saying which one you want to go to, you pick one. And then he goes and gives you a ticket for, the train or, the boat or whatever. And you go to the next region. Now, they've also been speaking about how they want to increase the VGC scene. They want more people into the tournament scene. So this is going to be sort of my take on what they could possibly decide to do. To kill two birds with one stone. They make a fantastic game that everybody wants to get a Switch for so they can play it. On top of that, they can teach all those players the rules of VGC and quite possibly bring them in. Now, maybe not an exact VGC formula, but essentially when you go to these new regions, everything is sort of locked at that point. Now, you can have background experience so your Pokemon still level up. So when you're in the wild or whatnot, if your Pokemon is level 62, he's going to pop out at 62. However, when it comes to trainer battles, we can lock them down into a VGC format to where anything is usable. I guess maybe except for legendaries or whatnot. And then it's a pick 4 out of your 6. So, you've got to bring 4 with you that you can use, or 3 if you can't pick 4 or something like that. And essentially what it is the trainer battles will be 2-on-2 with 4 Pokemon at their disposal. And everything is capped to, say, level 50, like it would be if you went to VGC with similar rules. You can't bring same item, all that good stuff, but not locking it to a particular dex because that changes yearly. Like right now, everything's sort of, I think everything's running on the Alola dex right now, so if it's not in the Alola dex, you can't use it in VGC. But, with the fact that you would be going, say, through different regions at this point, you would have access to potentially almost every Pokemon in the Pokedex. This way, you don't lock that into whatever the current season will be, whatever the next year's big thing. Will it be Alola Dex? Will it be International Dex? Will it have legendaries? Will it not have legendaries? And all that other good stuff. But this way, you go into these battles, and you're playing VGC-style battle. So this way, people can essentially be prepared about VGC battle, and they could also teach you about the VGC rules using NPCs and other things along going into these other regions where you talk to one and it's like, by the way, if you want to do tournament at, say, the Battle Tower, the tournament rules are set to VGC. That's what they're called, and it means this. Or, you can read this book in the library or whatnot, and it will tell you all about the Battle Towers rule set, which everybody goes with out here in the out here in the region and everything. So this way, you don't have this issue where, say, you want to go to the Sinnoh region, you get there, and everybody's got like underleveled Pokemon, and you just sort of steam through the entire region. Meanwhile, you've set the region up the same. You got to go to the gyms, you got to go get badges, go beat the Elite Four, all that other stuff. But instead of being able to steamroll it, everything is locked to the VGC settings. So you go into the gym, and because I can't remember any of the gym leaders right now except for Brock, even though at this point in, what I hope the game would be like. So you go and fight Brock, as an example. He goes, all right, you've beat the other trainers, you've made it to me, pick 4. You pick your 4, he picks his 4. And, even if you go, even if they do start you out in Kanto, he could have, like, a Steelix instead of his normal Onix that he would carry, because he's evolved it. And, he's got a Graveler from the Alola Dex or something, which I think would be kind of cool, like a Geodude Alola Dex form, instead of the normal, one. But anyway, let's say he picks 4, you pick 4, you duke it out that way. 50-50, or everybody's level 50, all that good stuff. Everybody's playing by the same rules, no items, and so forth. So this way people get a taste of VGC style. They play through the game, through all the other regions as a post-game sort of thing. And they're getting different story bits here and doing through the stories of that and this and everything else. Meanwhile, they're learning VGC style of tactics. You're going through and you're learning how to play the tournament setting. Thus, people who are coming into the game are learning how to properly play tournament style. That makes it easier to transition from just normal play into tournament. And then they can start doing online tournaments, which I think they started to do this year. But they could go ahead and start doing some major online tournaments where essentially you're gaining battle points through those. And it's like, by the way, fellas, if you're playing here in the U.S., we're going to have a tournament on Saturday the 23rd or something, starting at whatever Pacific time or Eastern time or Central time, whatever time they decide to use. And then, you've got, 5 days to register. You're going to register whatever you're bringing and lock them in. You're going to register them and lock them in. And then essentially what's going to happen is, in those 5 days, tournament rolls around, you need to log on. And then you get in, and it's sort of like a room or something, however it is that you do it, and they start matching with other players. And then you start you climb the ranks, you rank up, and then, you get points, I guess, based on rank, which I think is what they're currently doing with some tournaments now. On the 3DS, I just haven't done them. Mainly because I came too far into the season starting to work where I have an active internet connection every day. But anyway, you can do that, and then you go ahead and say, the season, you've gotten points and everything. You sign up on the site, and you can track your progress and everything. It's like, by the way, regionals is coming up. If you've scored so much, you've got an invitation to regionals, and they email that out to you, or, maybe they've got a mail system on their little website thingy, and then you get onto the website, and, check it out. It's like, invitation to regionals, are you coming? And, because they want to do a lot of different prize money and stuff, it's like, by the way, if you're coming, you need to go ahead and pay $15. Something, like that. And then you can make your way to regionals. Regionals will be held here. And, if you can make it, cool. If not, that's cool. Or we can have multiple regionals. Because we do have players all over this country, of course. You can have a regional over in Seattle. You can have a regional over in, Pittsburgh. You can have a regional in Nashville. You can have about 4 or 5 different regionals all across the country, so everybody gets a shot to actually go to regionals, which would probably also increase the player base for VGC, which is something that they would like to do and have real competitive players going at it instead of the same people from Nugget Bridge who, I've got my own reserved stuff about those people. But anyway, instead of just having the same group all the time, because that's pretty much all they do is that YouTube, and then they just go to the regionals because they've got the money to do it all the time. But this way it gives everybody a chance to go into regionals and say, we have those preliminary regionals that are all over the place, and then they pick the top, 100 or whatever and say, okay, we're going to bring these people to regional. Are you coming or not? And then they do something to bus these people to regional or fly them to regional, or, the top 10 of each regional. We could do that, like the top 10 of each, say, 5 or 10 regionals, and then they go ahead and the prize for winning the top spot of your regional, or, the top 10 in your regional, whatnot, is to go to the main regional, however they want to call it, and then, or national, regional, whatever. Anyway, you go to the main one for the U.S., and then you compete for the top spot for Worlds, essentially, after that, Nationals. And then you can compete for Nationals, which then, of course, you win that, then they fly you over, and you're like, whoever representing the United States kind of deal, sort of like the Olympics or something. It's like you're there as a team of 5 others or 20 others from the United States who are the best of the U.S., and they're coming in here and they're competing with other countries who have sent their best of the best to this national Pokemon tournament. It's going to be like this big whole thing. They can stream it, all this other stuff, and I think that would get a lot more hype into it. And then you could bring in so many people just by gearing the game up to teach people how to do it, and then giving them the ability to go online and do the battles from home, instead of having to find some place that is nearby in order to go to a tournament. Like, for instance, where I live, we got one card shop, and then another card shop about an hour away. And the only one that actually does anything tournament-wise is the one that's an hour away. And do they do anything Pokemon? They do some Pokemon cards, and that's about it. So if you want to actually get involved in playing VGC, you're kind of tough out of luck in this area, because there is nothing nearby that will do VGC that is sanctioned or anything. So if it's not available for you to do it online through your DS or something sitting at home, you're never going to enter, so you're never going to get the points necessary to even attempt to go to a regionals. But that's just my thought on what they can do with this console game. We've still got probably 2 years before, or at least, maybe half a year before we even hear anything more about it. More than likely, probably a year before we start really hearing some things, getting teasers out of it. But anyway, other than that, what do you think? What would your consoleized version of the game be like? What would you want in it? Would you like a main story plus some stadium stuff off to the side that you can do, sort of like a battle tower or something? For post-game, would you like to see multiple regions? Would you like it relegated to one main region? Would you like it just a brand new region? And then pretty much, what we normally get on the 3DS. Just a standard region with a standard story, and then maybe some post-game content after that. I'd like to hear what you guys think, because, everybody's got their own opinions and ideas, and some of them are good, some of them are bad. Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, see you later.